right there. They didn't let me down. They lied to themselves, lied to the situation, and was afraid to take a leap of faith. Hey, hey. What up, world? It's your boy, Stevens Ramirez, and this is Not For Nothing Podcast, while we are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. As you can see, I'm in a whole new location, just traveling, just hitting different spots. Like, you know, as you guys come with me, we just gonna go in different scenic routes, different areas, you know. Just being a walking dichotomy. I didn't even use that word properly, I guess. C'est la vie. Happy New Year, everybody. I was gonna read some threads, some, like, you know, New Year resolution jokes, like, you know, wrong answers only. Increase my screen time to 20 hours a day to become the ultimate couch potato. New Year resolution. Starting a collection of mismatched socks and never wearing a matching pair again. Who needs symmetry? What? Eat dessert for every meal because life is too short to worry about nutrition. Well, we are obese. Master the art of procrastination by avoiding any form of productivity. Okay. The perfect art of sleeping through alarms and always being fashionably late. Okay, I think this one is probably decent. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Create chaos in the kitchen by attempting to cook every recipe from Gordon Ramsay's cookbook, even if it ends in a disaster. Okay. Learn to speak a completely made up language and confuse everyone around me. Okay. That one got me. Give up on personal hygiene and embrace the natural scent. That's BO. No one want to smell onions. Learn how to trip over thin air and break records in clumsiness. Okay, and I guess that concludes New Year resolutions, wrong answers only. Okay, so how you guys doing out there? I hope you guys are doing well, cozy, laid up. Like the welcoming into the new year, like, you know, reflecting on the lessons that happened from then till now. I think it's important to really look at yourself in the mirror and to really reflect on the actions that you have committed to others. Like, have you been that good person? Have you been that good partner? Have you been that good son, daughter, brother, sister, husband, wife, father, mother? Have you kept everyone at a good, not kept everyone, like, have you placed yourself in a good standing with everyone? So like not everybody's perfect. Like let's get that straight. We're not perfect. We're not perfect beings. I would say if we try to at least be as honorable and respectful and truthful to one another. And sometimes the truth hurts to people, especially like if you try to hold yourself accountable, hold everyone else accountable of their actions. Like, yo, come closer. Let me tell you something. Okay, that's too close. Just stay right there. When you set boundaries for yourself, for others, learning to not only love yourself, lead yourself, because once you learn how to love and lead yourself, you'll be able to lead and love others. I think that's important to even like really listening in on yourself and those around you. What I mean by listening in, like learning how to actively listen, because a lot of people love to hear themselves. They love to hear. I hear you, but I ain't listening. So actively listening is a skill set that you gotta like consistently build upon. Talk less, listen more. It's like the saying, I'd rather play the fool than act like I know everything. Right? Because then I want you to tell me things. I want to listen. I want you to underestimate me as you think that I am young, inexperienced, or just don't have the understanding or the capability of certain things, and you play your cards in front of me. All right? And that's for some people that like trying to be a little shady or whatever. Not decent people. What they try to live their lives accordingly. What I've learned from last year to now is like, how can I be a better person? I always try to like, how can I be a better human? Even like looking at it emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, like even for me, like I believe in God. I'm like, God, I'm a Christian, I'm not perfect, far from it. That's just me. What I've learned from last year was try to write down my thoughts, try to be clear, try to at least be honest with everyone and let them know like, hey, you know what, I'm down, I'll make it. Or let them know days in advance, hey, I can't make it, I'll make it up to you, X, Y, and Z, just trying to at least be as truthful as possible, even if it ends up burning bridges or bending bridges or just like having people to feel a certain way. And being clear, providing clarity, and also being honest, not at what you say, how you say it, whatever that means, right? Because you can be truthful and say it with the most vindictive way, and people won't register that. So learn how to be cool as a cucumber, just like straightforward, or as like how out here, just keep it at a thin ice ratio, right? For me, I like what I've learned on that time frame, like, writing book, a journal, like, blessed by God, shout out to Ruslan. If you see this, like, I'm here, boy. Speaking of other podcasts, I tuned in more into like, recent events of Theo with Strickland, and how like, they had that mature moment where like going down memory lane, and Strickland got, reliving certain moments.
I stopped believing in God, man. Like fucking, like I had fucking, yeah, it's crazy shit, dude. Crazy shit, man.
Yeah. It's okay, man. It's a lot of that's sad, dude. I used to be scared at night. Like, I used to stand up. Like, I heard when I was a kid that, like, if you peed around your, like, animals could pee somewhere that other animals wouldn't come. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Huh?
Yeah, man. I got it.
Have you ever heard that? Yeah, I'm sorry, bud.
So, man. Remember, like suicide, you know? Like, you don't even know what suicide is when you're a kid. When you're really talking about suicide, like being a little kid, like laying in bed, like just, like, man, I'm done with this shit. You know, like, there can't be a God.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, it's fucked up, dude.
No, it just makes me sad that a kid has to feel that way, you know?
Yeah, so, like,
Any kid.
whenever Dreykus goes on there and, like, he jokes about that shit.
Right.
It's like, dude, you have no idea. Yeah, I mean, and this is like, as a comedian, you got to joke about trauma. Like, people think, like, I joke about all this shit. Like, you know, as we're laughing, like, you got to joke about, it. If you don't, like, how do you process that? You know, how do you process that kind of abuse? I mean, I'll never forget my brother, we were like upstairs once and he taped knives to his fucking leg. I mean, we're talking elementary school. He was going to go sit on the couch with my dad and stab him, dude. Like, you know, it's like,
reliving certain moments. Again, I could get behind that, and like, you know, certain situations, like, you know, things that cause trauma, like PTSD or like traumatic moments where it's like I will never be in this position again. But sometimes it's like your mind will pull you, and your inner self will be like transformed into the child or whoever that felt that traumatic moment. And it's like you still feel it fresh as a daisy, fresh as a, like, you know, the closest wound. Even seeing Strickland getting that emotional, and like, you know, from the upcoming events, it was like, wow, we are pushing things forward, especially like for men being comfortable enough to show like, hey, I've experienced this. And sometimes, and I'll be transparent about this, sometimes for us, we don't feel so comfortable sharing so much information because, one, we don't have the space, we don't get the grace, we already immediately judged, castrated, or our traumatic traumas been utilized as a weapon and then regurgitated back to us in a way that we like, oh, I can't trust you anymore. I can't trust anybody with this. And sometimes that also tends into relationships, not only like, you know, intimacies or like, you know, partnerships, but friendships, brotherhood, like-minded individuals, that tends to even diverge a wedge in between them. It's just like, I can't trust nobody. I think that's why we probably die a little bit younger, you know, and we don't tend to voice a lot of things. We tend to shove things down and suppress them. But I think now, like, more men are turning into faith. More men are actively trying to be part of the community, finding healthier outlets. That's what I think I've learned from last year to now, that men are utilizing healthy alternatives, like improving their mental health, improving their physical health. And speaking of improvement and accountability, from also the viral episode on Club Shay Shay, with Katt Williams talking about, you know, holding everybody accountable of their statements, because he did not hold back. He loaded up the clip and let it rain on everybody. You know, he's just like, hey, I ain't too hard to find. I'm a phone call away. That's literally, he would just enact Deion Sanders' mantra, like, hey, you know where I'm at? I ain't hard to find. And just let it all go. And what's interesting, everyone didn't call him a liar. They just called him a clown. They called him crazy. They called him all this, but never called him a liar. And never even tried to put him on his place. because it's interesting.
Come here and disrespect you in your face and tell you straight up lies. I'm talking about things that have never been heard in all of Black Hollywood. They feel comfortable sitting here and lying to you about it.
You gonna set the record straight?
Are you kidding me? You let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in. I wish all of America fumbled a bit when that happened. And then he said some stuff that we haven't heard in 100 years in Hollywood. You ain't say nothing. This man told you he had Katt Williams' role. He was gonna be Money Mike.
Wait.
And Katt Williams was gonna be the Santa Claus. Now three quick points. You mean in Hollywood they cast a 5'5" black Santa Claus that weigh 145 pounds? That's your story. Your story is the Ricky Smiley that couldn't even do curse words because he had a Christian fan base. He was gonna play the pimp. Why you didn't ask him why has he played a woman in more movies than he's played a man? Nobody knows why liars lie. And that's why I had to come on the program. Cedric did the same thing. Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke?
Yeah.
He said, it don't line up. How it don't line up that I did it on TV in 2018? You came to see me at the Comedy Store do it in 2019 and then did it on the Kings of Comedy. Like, what doesn't line up? This is a televised joke that Mark Curry helped me punch up and get to the level that it was. The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business. And it's a man unit.
If I'm a comedian, and which I'm not, if I'm a comedian and I spent moments in my life and time to cut out the fat, to make certain jokes and stuff, closing jokes, then we can get into it. So that's going to be on a later tangent, but let's get into this. Let's get into the life lessons of from last year till now. I think for me it was hard to really think about certain aspects, like even starting this podcast. From last year till now, I had individuals talking to me, shout out to my guy Bobby. It's like, yo man, just do it. Shout out to my wife. She's like, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen? You are in control of your own destiny. Can't rely on everyone else. And sometimes it takes a community to trust an idea to move forward. Just like, hey, you know what? I got this idea. I think we can make this successful. Let's just see where we go from here. And I don't care who I offend on this one. I've placed genuine interest and trust. It's like, hey, I got ideas. Hey, we can work. We can do this. Even on the bare bones of this. And I've always been an avid listener. I've listened to multitudes of podcasts from last year, from Theo, from Club Shay Shay, from Joe Rogan, from the Legend podcast. Shout out to Big Wavy and Mo Black. From Talk About It with Fran Jazz. Shout out to Fran Jazz. Just been tuning in and listening into different perspectives and approaches on things, and being inspired and respecting everybody from a distance. It's just like, oh wow. Or what really honed me in, starting off was from I Am Athlete to The Pivot with Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, just turning things and turning the wheels, and even practicing the skills of actively listening and being present. And I think that's important, that everybody probably should add in their routine, to be actively present. I've noticed even the last 3 months how my phone have been preoccupying my attention. Of course, I probably work through my phone more times than anything, just like, doing research and stuff, but it is a interesting thing because my child noticed that I was on my phone more than being around her. And usually I'm always, an active father, oh, let's go here, let's do this, let's do that. An active husband, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. But when my child notices that I haven't done this routine and he's like, oh, you shift, that called me up here. Oh, my attention is too much here. Let me put my stuff down. Let me refocus. Let me recenter and hone in. And I think that's important to even hold yourself accountable. Like, I feel like for this year, I'm holding everybody accountable. If you say you're going to do something, or you saying, like, you tell me, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, I'm going to expect you to do that because you told me what you're going to do. So why digress from it? If you're going to tell me, hey, bro, I'm going to go bench 265. All right, go do that. And some avid gym goers who are in a group chat amongst gym goers who are physically fit can say, if it's not have any form of media recording, it didn't happen. I'm just talking for avid gym goers who show off their bravado of their workouts, and those who are old school, like, hey, you don't need to prove anything to anybody. And that's also important too. It's like, it's both sides. But I do believe they both can agree on accountability on people's actions. If you say you're going to do something, if you're going to say you're going to do something, you do it. And I think that part, it's difficult for a lot of people to accept, where accountability is an experience and also a shell shocker. Let me break that down. It's a shell shocker because once you start realizing your actions and how you treat people, then you're going to look at yourself a little bit different. Then you're going to be like, oh man, like, shoot, I should have done better. I should have been more attentive, or I should have clarified my statements. I should have shared my thoughts more clear. I should have changed my rhetoric. It's a lot of things where you start to learn things that you're like, oh man, I could have done better. I could have been a better brother, son, husband, father, be a better things. And even how I learned to start writing my thoughts and jotting things down. And even like, taking my podcast seriously. Shout out to my brother Juan, like even blessing me with this to of course take it even to the next level, taking things and molting ideas. It's just like, wow, like I'm really committed to this. And even being committed to an idea and putting 100% into it, you trust the system. Like, winners build systems. Winners don't go to the goals, they build the systems. Like how even just having a group of like-minded people together, even for me, like from 2023 from now, like having conversations with individuals that not only let me down, they didn't let me down. Let's just keep it a stack right there. They didn't let me down. They lied to themselves, lied to the situation, and was afraid to take a leap of faith. Let me break that down again. Lied to themselves, lied to the situation, and is afraid to take a leap of faith. I don't care what's the reason. If you have someone that's like, yo, I believe in your vision, I'm behind you, I even like willing to supply, but yeah, you're not committed, then what are we talking? What are we talking about? We just blowing smoke out our asses, like literally. Oh, let's talk hypotheticals. Like from my wife, you know, she was like, yo, bet on yourself. From my friend Bobby, yo, just hit record, bro. Like even recording with Bob, with Chris, with Carlos, with Alex, with Maxwell, it's just like part of them left with me. And I think that's why I would try to probably take on this journey, like pieces of people and how they feel or what their thoughts can leave with me. That's why I'm like looking so much forward into Mamba year 2024, you know, shout out to Kobe, rest in power, you know, just like things to think about. And you know what? Come closer. All right, man, just slow it down. Back up. Okay, that's good. I think this is a year of truth, gratitude, and practicing the art of no. I think that's the next book I'm probably gonna read, The Art of No. And that part, it's like, because I think we've been so accustomed to being a yes person, especially like the family friends, even if it causes an inconvenience to you, because it strips pieces of you away. Like it takes pieces of you away, and even when you don't have energy for yourself, but you pour your energy to everyone else. Like, oh, I'm going to give you some of me here. I'm going to give you some of me here. I'm going to give you some of me here. And then when it's your day off or your moment to just take you don't have the energy for yourself. And then it sucks, you know, because then it's like, oh yeah, I'll get to that project next week, or I'll go to the gym Thursday come, I'm going to stay in bed. And it sucks because it's like, yo, who are you trying to become? And what is your goal into building your system? Like, you know, like they always say, it's like, it's not the finish line, it's the journey. And if you just feel like your journey ends here, then hey, power to you. And it leads into like, you know, like the next thought, like, you know, improving mental health and physical health. I think in regards of mental health, you can put yourself into a prison. Keep that a $150. Like you can definitely put yourself into a mental prison, especially like if you feel the trauma or if you feel the hurt. I think it's different where, like what I've read, like I've read studies on regarding of male self-harm. And it's even like, you know, from post-COVID, it's interesting because like studies from University of Sweden, studies from universities in Shanghai, and even studies from Tennessee State University, or University of Tennessee, one or the other, conducted a study, quantitative study in regards of like, you know, how male depression, male isolation, and even male relationships are going on a decline, like increasing more of the isolation portion where it's just like, hey, like we aren't good with male relationships. We aren't good with community relationships, even though we are active members in our community with we're regarding of physical fitness, coaching, mentorships. We're behind closed doors in this 100-year-old house. We tend to be alone. And sometimes being alone up here where doubts, fears, negativity tend to run rampant. Like it was like saying like you have two wolves, light and dark, and how you balance them is the one you feed the most until the one you feed the most overcomes you. And that's the part where it's just like, okay, like even in that part, I think people should. I think for the year of 2024, truth should just come out how it is. Just let it be out. That's it. It's not like what I say, how I say it. Just drop it. Boom. There you go. Do what you will with this, and I'll see you when the fire simmers down. um. Yeah, and I think it's important for people to just be truthful, be compassionate, and set boundaries. Boundaries are important, especially if like people are trying to push the envelope where you're uncomfortable and just like, okay, no. The art of no. Oh, that's the next book I should read. The art of no. Yeah. Um, yo, thank you for tuning in. God bless. Like, subscribe, watch the previous videos. I got upcoming videos coming up. Um, follow us on Instagram. Hit that bell button. I'll see you soon. Peace.